You know what? As a Dolphins fan, I'm just glad Tom Brady is gone from the AFC East. Thank you, Bucks. Thank you, Brady, for leaving. Finally, get to breathe a little bit. I know the Dolphins is not like they're winning the AFC East, at least anytime soon, but I'm just glad that Brady is gone. And you know what? He goes to Tampa Bay, where everyone thinks he's going to retire now. He's going to win more championships. He won last year, but will he do it again? Well, we're going to take a look at the roster, give you a roster breakdown, give you my projected starters, as well as a prediction for the 2021 season. What's crack-a-lackin'? It's your boy Broshmo. Just in case you did not know, so go ahead, become a bro and subscribe. Leave that thumbs up if you enjoy the content. And as always, let me know what you think in the comments section below. I like to have that nice, beautiful football discourse there with y'all. But let's go ahead and let's dive into the roster here. Starting with the offense, led by Brian Leftwich, but it's got Bruce Arians' fingerprints all over it. Now, unlike much of the rest of the league, the Bucks, they don't run a lot of outside zone. They're a very downhill running type of squad. That's just what they do. Like, they like to set up the play action, and they use that play action to take shots deep a lot. And some people thought, man, Brady, you just don't have it anymore, man. His arm just can't make it down there. He looked just fine last year. I'm just going to say he looked fine. He looked good. But the running game is it's a vital part to getting all this stuff started. And they typically like to go with the hot hand, their running back. And we saw that. Like during the season, Ronald Jones was the guy that they leaned on. And then when the postseason started, it was Leonard Fournette. Those are going to be the two backs. It's going to be a two-headed attack. Those are going to be your main two backs. But they got some very good depth. Giovanni Bernard comes in as this kind of like James White-esque weapon for Brady. Keyshawn Vaughn's a very good depth piece. Very good. And I mean, even if a guy like CJ Procise, excuse me, makes the roster, like that could be kind of cool. I liked Procise like since Notre Dame days, but don't know if he even makes the roster. But regardless, they're fine. They got a good group of running backs there. So it's really going to rely on, well, will this offensive line be able to do it? And yeah, it's actually one of the best in terms of starters of offensive linemen in the league. There was probably a better way to word that, but I couldn't find it. You got studs. Like this offensive line's led by Tristan Wirfs and Ali Marpet, both very good among the top at their positions already. And then you got Donovan Smith, who I was kind of like, man, why'd they even pay that guy a few years ago? And he comes out and has a career year. So he's fine. He's an above average, I would say, starter at that position. Alex Kappa is a very good, very solid starter. The weak spot there was Ryan Jensen last season. He just took this big step down. In terms of like in 2019, like you could make a case that he was the best center in football, him or Jason Kelsey. Apparently that's not the case. Like, well, it wasn't the case in 2020, man. A lot of snaps got away from him and over Brady's head, and I expect him to have a bounce back year. Oh, excuse me. But regardless, they have the heir apparent. They have the future replacement in Robert Hainsey. Best thing about Hainsey, he's played all over the offensive line during his time at Notre Dame. I loved the pickup. I think it's very good, a very good. So it's nice that they got a guy. If someone goes down, he could really play any position. I like the addition of Sedarius Hutchinson. I think he is perfect for Bruce Arians type of scheme. He is really a vertical. Ideally, he likes those vertical pass sets. So he's going to be very good at that. But outside of that, it's a bunch of average to a below average depth. So not wild about that, but hey, your starters are pretty darn good. And Tom Brady is going to have a plethora of playmakers at his disposal. I mean, we could just look at the tight end position with Gronk, with Cameron Brate, OJ Howard. Like, that's a phenomenal core right there by itself. And then obviously he has one of the best receiving duos in all of football in Mike Evans and Chris Godwin. And Godwin technically coming off a down year. Like, he had 9 drops, very uncharacteristic of Godwin. So I expect him to be better in that regard. And then it's this revolving door of just receivers that they deploy in Antonio Brown and Scotty Miller and Tyler Johnson, who I wish got more playing time last year, man. Like, I thought he was a really good pick, and he showed some flashes last year. He really did. They had Jalen Darden, who is a bit of an undersized vertical threat there out of North Texas. A great pickup. I think he's really going to be more of a special teamer, at least initially, starting off in his career, which, I mean, they could probably then move on from like a guy like Mickens, that's kind of been his thing. So, I mean, and then even Justin Watson, like, he was a guy I thought was going to break out a year or two ago, and just he got lost in the depth chart. So, like, I think they got like 6, potentially 7 quality receivers there. A guy that I'm keeping my eye on, I don't think he makes the roster, but Josh Pearson was an undrafted free agent out of Jacksonville State in 2020. Just a big-bodied vertical threat, guy that I really liked. So keep an eye on that cat. Keep an eye on that cat. This offense looks great. We could talk about Kyle Trask in the future, but I don't think we really need to. The future looks bright considering just the players around him. It really does. Let's take a moment to talk about today's sponsor, Underdog Fantasy. Underdog Fantasy is the easiest and the best place to go play fantasy football for big cash prizes. Ooh, and let me tell you, Underdog, they got you covered. All you have to do is draft. No need to worry about injuries, waivers, or lineups. Underdog, they got you covered. So go online or use the app, which is pretty slick, and just draft a season-long best ball team, and they take care of the rest. No in-season management required. And they're willing to give you $25 when you sign up, so you can take a shot in their $1 million fantasy football tournament, or you can play in some other best ball leagues, or even make prop bets. Now, you get that free $25 on Underdog when you use the promo code BROSCHMO. It's free to sign up, so use promo code BROSCHMO. Bam, you get your $25 once you make your first deposit. So drop a buck in there, bam, you got $26. You big spender, y'all baller. But go ahead, support Underdog. It helps me out. It's always much appreciated, much obliged. And if you're looking for more fantasy content from me, check me out on TikTok at BroSchmo. The link's in the description below. But let's talk about the defense a little bit, because oh boy, oh my, Todd Bowles. Like, first off, what a great coaching staff. I love Leftwich, and then Bowles, after, New York kind of being a thing, his career with the Jets not looking so hot, he comes back and he's like, hey, I'm still a pretty darn defensive coach. So you commentate. And dude, he loves deploying those bear fronts, those 5 like defensive lineman type of fronts. He likes to sell out to stop the run early. And then he'll bring the house on like long downs, passing downs, third downs. He will in the secondary, he'll go to cover 1, cover 0. Like, he really trusts his guys to cover, and he just wants to get pressure. I mean, that's why Devin White last season, 31 pressures, 9 sacks. He likes to blitz, and he does it pretty darn well. And plus, he's got some very good defensive linemen on. Like, he's got some good guys on that defensive line. Vita Vea, one of them. I think he's a top 10 defensive interior player in the league. It was a shame he got hurt last season, but he was able to return. Dude's phenomenal. Sue, however you feel about him, he's still quality at this age. JPP is still in there getting pressure. They also have Shaq Barrett, who has just been a pass rushing nightmare. They were finally able to give him the contract that he deserved, or at least they're able to retain him for the next few years, which good on them, man. Good on them. They got Joe Tryon back there as this lying in wait replacement for JPP. Even when Vita Vea went down, like, I thought Raheem Nunez did a solid enough job of replacing him. mean, you're never really going to replace a Pro Bowl level player, but I thought he did a fine job trying to do that. Steve McLennan is just a solid, reliable vet. William Golston, another guy that's just been a solid vet on this line. I think Khalil Davis is the interesting name here, a guy who I thought really showed out at the combine back in I guess it would have been 2020. So I'll be interested to see if he really gets any significant playing time at all this year. And then going to the linebackers, Lavonte David, he's great. Age ain't nothing but a three-letter word to him. Devin White, though, a guy who stupid athletic. The thing was just he wasn't really producing in coverage, man. And then he was a missed tackle machine. But during the last half of the 2020 season and then going into the playoffs, he just turned a corner. He was both a playmaker in coverage and as a pass rusher. So I'm looking for him to kind of build off that. I can't wait to watch him. Behind those guys, Kevin Minner, he's been a vet around the league. Grant Stewart, rookie, KJ Britt. Honestly, KJ Britt, I think is kind of interesting option here. Just he's this no nonsense, very explosive downhill type of run stuffer. Doesn't surprise me. Todd Bowles wanted him. Going to the secondary, man. I absolutely love the secondary. Antonio Winfield, he was who I thought he was, as Romeo Cornell once put. He was who I thought he was. Dude is just a playmaker in coverage. Jamil Dean is low-key, I think. He's one of my favorite corners in the league. Doesn't get the respect he deserves. You could say that about Carlton Davis as well. Everyone just remembers that one game where Tyreek Hill beat up on him, but honestly, you shouldn't be just having some guy man up with no help on Tyreek Hill. That was just stupid. That wasn't Davis's fault. But Sean Murphy-Bunting, very solid slot guy that he's played in the box. He's played on the outside, so he gives them a lot of versatility. I was talking about the safeties there. Mike Edwards, not a starter, but he got his last year, and he was like kind of a ball hawk too in that regard. Ross Cockrell, he's a solid cornerback 4. But after that, it's like, it's whatever. Like Antonio Hamilton, I don't know if he even makes a roster, but he's a veteran guy that I think would be a solid depth piece. Regardless, this is one of the best, like, offensively and defensively, the Bucs are one of the best starting units you will find in football. There's a reason they won the Super Bowl. Well, Tom Brady, but also they got a lot of good players. A lot. So let's go ahead. Let's go to my projected stars. I do this not based on base formations, or I do it based on, well, snaps. Who's going to see the field the most? So going to my starters, I got Tom Brady. I have both running backs listed here because they both outsnapped the third wide receiver and second tight end. So essentially, they saw more snaps. They were a starter. So Leonard Fournette and Ronald Jones second. Chris Godwin, Mike Evans, Rob Gronkowski, Donovan Smith, Ali Marpet, Ryan Jensen, Alex Kappa, and Tristan Wirfs. What a excellent starting lineup. And then obviously at receiver, you kind of got this revolving door of Antonio Brown, Scotty Miller, and Tyler Johnson, with maybe a little Jalen Darden sprinkled into there. And then looking at the defense, Shaq Barrett, JPP, Vita Vea, we got Sue, we got White, David, Carlton Davis, Jamil Dean, Sean Murphy-Bunting, Antoine Winfield, and Jordan Whitehead. I don't know if Joe Tryon really makes much of a did I say Jordan Whitehead? Joe Tryon. Maybe I said Joe Tryon. I don't know. We'll find out in post production. But Joe Tryon, I don't know if he makes necessarily a big impact this year. I think we'll obviously see him in a rotation, some sort of rotation role. But we know Mike Edwards, he's going to get his. It's a great starting lineup. This is a Super Bowl caliber team. Let's go ahead to my predictions. I got them going 13-4. They actually, I think, have one of the easier schedules there. Having to face the Well, I mean, their division. I don't really think the Panthers, the Falcons, or the Saints could really contend with them. I do have them losing one game. I forgot to who. I gave one to the Falcons. Yeah, I don't feel good about that. Let's be honest. I mean, like, if they were to lose a game, man, yeah, where would it be in their division? It's really, really hard to call. Then they get to face the NFC least with the Cowboys, Eagles, Washington football team, and the Giants. And they also get to take on the AFC East, way more competitive with teams like the Bills, Dolphins, Patriots, and then a young Jets team with some potential. Yeah, this team, they're going to make a run for the Super Bowl again. It's no surprise. Tom Brady is a winner. That team, it's just a winning culture down there at this point. Like, people wanted to be there. They took pay cuts to stay there. That's just what happens when you have a quarterback the caliber of Tom Brady. So, yeah, this is a good squad. I didn't feel like there was much talk about as there has been in other breakdowns. This is a very similar team to last year, and I think it should do very similar things, like succeed. But that's it for the video. Go ahead, do that YouTube thing. It's always much appreciated and much obliged. But until next time, you be easy, my friends. Later.